Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening and welcome to Inside Lane Productions broadcast, sponsored by Quasi Esports on our YouTube channel of the OzOval V8 Supercar Racing Series, Round 1 at Michigan. Now, a brand new series, Round 1. This is Australian V8 Supercars on NASCAR ovals, the whole series. That's all it is. And believe me, there's going to be some fast racing and there's going to be some great pack racing throughout this series. On the buttons in the booth tonight is Kobe Jordan, and joining me on the mic is Jai Schultz. Hi, Jai.
How you doing, Steve? It's good to be here and good to see these boys back out on the ovals and learning how to push, and it's been quite a fruitful practice.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a need for this. Usually this series is run and taken care of by the old Australasian Supercar E-Series, who are no longer actually doing this. So the boys have been hanging out for the last 6 months or so waiting for something to happen. And a couple of conversations later, here we are. A little bit of work in behind the scenes and we've got it all happening. And just coming to, we've closed off practice. We are now into qualifying. It's a 5-minute qualifier with one single flying hot lap. We are obviously at Michigan, as I said. It's a 2-mile track or 3.2 kilometres long. And V8 Supercars will probably go around here. Well, we're about to find out, but I'd say it's probably going to be somewhere around the 32 second mark. 70% fuel capacity, 3 sets of tyres, which is the starter set, and 2 tyre changes. We are 100 laps tonight, and being a 2-miler, 100 laps for the opening round of the series. So it's going to be pretty exciting stuff. The guys are out there and absolutely chomping at the bit to get this one underway. Fixed setups, and there's been some testing on the setups. And I'm informed reliably that the second half of the race, the second half of the tank, as the fuel load drops, the outside line will be the most stable place to be. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do with it, Jai.
Yeah, it definitely is. And saw in practice a few of the boys moving around, going right down to that yellow line and then right up to the wall as well. So it just kind of looks like they're experimenting as that tank went down, and be interesting to see how they get going as we get the first time from Troy Davison at 39.9. So wasn't far off and quite quick around a 2-mile track.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad time at all. Gary Wellman on a 40.1, Greg Spencer for Pinnacle Racing on a 40.1, Andy Barber 40.2, as more times start to come in and the order changes at the top of the sheets there. And we're looking at one of the Roffy guys there out on track at the moment, getting his lap done.
Yeah, definitely the pressure's on with that one single lap as well. So just seeing the boys get up to speed and grab that fly lap, one opportunity to really set that time, no banker laps or anything. So we'll see who gets that one hit wonder at the top of the timesheet with only about 2.5 minutes left in qualifying.
Yeah, and there's several of the guys taking a more traditional line there. coming down on the turns, down to the low line, and then back to the outside of the wall when they hit the front and back straights. That's at the moment in qualifying, because that may possibly be the fastest line. But in the race, it's going to be interesting to see where the guys decide to place the car as the fuel load drops and the tyres get the temp in them, the track rubbers up. It's going to be very interesting to see how we go. And we've actually got, I'm just taking a look at the moment to see what the entry number is like for the first round. And we're looking at... well, that's probably 20-something, maybe 30 cars. I haven't counted them.
We've got 25 in third round one so far.
25 in the room. So that's not bad for the first round. Out of 47 that registered, and obviously not everybody's able to make every round, but 47 guys interested in running this series. And, well, of course, actually, you'll also notice that my name's in there because I'm the admin. And had to do driver briefing and stuff like that, so I needed to actually be in there as a driver rather than as a spectator. But I can guarantee I'm going to come last because I'm not actually racing. I'm here in the booth and getting the job done here with the boys.
25 cars is a pretty respectable turnout, and we've got, as you mentioned before, Steve, with the Australasian boys used to running a series like this. You've got quite a few of the heavy hitters I've noticed from that series as well over competing here tonight as well. So we might have a few old allies, a few old sparks kind of banging doors, but that's what over racing is, and it should be in for a pretty good night.
And I'm imagining that there's going to be a little bit of paint swapping going on, but certainly it's all going to be in fun, and the competitive edge that these guys have got. They're all going to be wanting to get there at the end and be in the right spot, put themselves in a position to actually get on the podium or take the win for the first round of the season. And following this, we've got race review, so the final positions may not be the final positions. We're going to take a look at some of the incidents and stuff like that, and we'll get those posted up online through a link in our Discord. If you actually find OzOval V8SC Racing on Facebook, and there'll be a link in there for the Discord. So we're going to actually go to the grid now, and the front runners for the grid getting us started tonight off pole position, Troy Davidson and Cade Donnelly alongside him on the front row. Craig Roffey on the second row with Adam Malone. Rick Vincent and Peter Matson make up the third row. On the fourth row, we've got Gary Wellman and Greg Spencer, both very experienced guys. Andy J. Barber and Paul Jackson on the row behind them.
Then on row 6, we've got Tony Roffey and Matthew Beale, followed by Todd Maxfield and James Oliver. Row 8. Row 8, we have Christopher Hopman and Robert Denton. Row 9, Troy Mortensen and Tristan Koch. Row 10, Greg Sholton and Jamie Lankervis in your 20th position.
Row 11, Wade Sheedy and Richard Sanchez from the United States. Row 12 is obviously myself and Andrew Hoffman, and you can ignore the 131, and Jared Williams at the back of the field, who didn't actually qualify, those last couple of guys. Andrew Hoffman also not qualifying, opting to start at the rear of field. They will roll out behind the official pace truck very shortly. And we've got a Simboys lockout on the front row.
Yeah, definitely quick with Davison and Donnelly locking out that front row for the Simboys, and a few more teammates not too further behind with them as well. So the heavy hitters, yeah, definitely are making their stand early on in this series and showing who's got the pace and who might be playing a little bit of catch up.
It's a very experienced field, Jai. A lot of these guys have run the Australasian series for a couple of years, so they're all very used to the setups. They're used to running on these tracks with these vehicles. So yeah, I'm expecting there's a lot of experience out there, and I'm expecting there to be some really good close racing tonight.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, as you said, a lot of experience, and they've raced around each other quite a lot as well. So a lot of respect up and down the field.
A lot that counts for a lot, because when you're used to running with a bunch of guys, you know generally how they drive. There's a certain amount of trust there on the moves that they make and the way that the lines they'll take and the way that they actually run their races and stuff like that. So we're going to see a lot of that tonight, I imagine. And as I said, Simboy's a lockout on the front row, and Adam Malone in the second row with the road car next to him of the Roffies. That's Craig Roffey.
Yeah, definitely a very strong front row and quite a few rows behind as well. So just as we said, the pace truck going in now and just coming to the green flag to start off a hopefully very good season.
Yeah, and we are green and we are go. So the number 23 car of Troy Davidson gets the hammer down, and Kate Donnelly goes with him, and he's just got his car length in front of his teammate there as the two of them lead the field around for this first lap.
Yeah, definitely a pretty even start, and Davidson's just zipped out in front of Donnelly then. So be interesting to know if they counted down that start and got in formation very quickly, but definitely working together from the start. There's a little bit of contact between Donnelly and Roffey, just getting them loose and shot him up the track.
Yep, just a little bit loose there, just give him a little bit of a tag, but Craig Roffey managed to catch that without incident, and a couple of guys have actually managed to move up a couple of spots. Peter Gretton's dropped back a couple in the GSRC car in the Commodore, but early days at this stage as we are around on the second lap.
Yeah, definitely spread the field out a little bit on the entry to 3 there with that slight contact, but everything's back in. It caused 3 wide, but we're back to 2 wide down the first probably 12 cars, as we see a few little runs coming up the back straight now as well.
Andy Barber's made up a couple of spots there as he slots into about 4th position, sitting in behind Gary Wellman, as Davidson has dropped to the outside a little bit there now. And Donnelly leads this with Wellman behind him. And we've got, Davidson and Barber side by side. And I think it's Rick Vincent there on the outside in that blue and black road car.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit tight then. And Andy Barber definitely moving up through the field, up 6 positions from the start already, only on lap 3. And he's taken it to the Simboys. So just locking out Davison there and couldn't quite get the 3 Simboys in the line as he just moves up the track. But definitely close racing and definitely a few drivers on the move early.
Yep, starting to scatter the field out. We've got this pack of about 10 cars as Adam Malone and Todd Maxfield decide to swap a little bit of paint as well. And that'll be the guys settling in on this setup with a full tank of fuel, Joy.
Yeah, definitely right. As I believe we are under caution for the first time here tonight at Michigan.
Yep, caution already on lap 4. So we're going to take a look at the instant replay on that. It may be Greg Sholton and Jamie Nankervis have come together. And that's Greg Sholton in the 44 car. Jamie Nankervis, no. Somebody else has actually, they've managed to miss that by the looks of it. Somebody else has actually come loose. Just looking to see who that was.
Looks like one of the Super Cheap Auto backed cars. Maybe. Yep. I think we've got 2 here tonight, so I'm not sure which one it was.
And just taking a look at, I didn't catch the number on that actually, but yeah, it was one of the Super Cheap cars, and number 65, is it? 66.
So that'd be Christopher Hoffman.
Yep, Chris Hoffman. He's come loose there. The tail's gotten out Yeah, rear end stepped out on him. Just coming through on the low line of that turn, and he's fishtailed it, trying to catch it. And it looks like he's actually been missed by everybody, and he's managed to not hit anyone himself. So all's good there. Everybody's got a straight car, and the caution flag was thrown by iRacing just purely because there was a car out of shape on the racing surface. As we take a look at Adam Malone, and back to the front runners there, and we've got that's Cade Donnelly leading from Todd Maxfield. And we got Matthew Beale up into third position there behind the pace truck. Matty with the Player One sim gear team.
Yeah, we definitely had a bit of a split strategy as well here, Steve. Under this caution, we've got the first 6 cars actually stayed out on the racetrack. So the first one that actually pitted was Gary Wellman in 7th place. So we've got Donnelly, Maxfield, Beale, Oliver, Sanchez and Sholton all staying out. And the rest of the field electing to come in and maybe just top up with a bit of fuel and extend this first part of the race a little bit longer.
Yep, with 70% fuel, they're probably getting, I expect it to be probably somewhere around the high 30s or low 40s as far as laps out of the tank is concerned. What they've done, obviously, as you said, bit of a splash and dash, top it up a little bit, get an extra few laps over what some of the other guys are going to actually get. So they'll actually be able to stay out a little bit longer and try and take advantage of that.
Yeah, definitely just mixing things up, and especially with the oval racing, with the way green flag pit stops work, it's very easy to actually lose a lap. So if you can kind of extend that stint a little bit more and get that few extra laps, if a caution falls your way, you might be a whole lap in front of the rest of the field if it does fall that way. So it's definitely a bit of a strategy to go a little bit longer. But yeah, back on the full tank, and at least this time on the restart, they kind of know what to expect with the full tank and the tyres.
Yep. And as I said, some testing was done, and as the fuel load drops, the car does get a little bit unstable unless you're on the outside line. So we'll see how these guys actually go with the flow on that. But somebody who actually benefited pretty strongly out of that is James Oliver in the 19 Cool Drive car, sitting in 4th place at the moment. Because he didn't actually pit. Greg Sholton, who managed to, one of the guys that have managed to avoid that car that was sideways, has moved up, and he's sitting in around about 6th spot. Gary Wellman, who pitted, sitting in about 7th spot, back on the 4th row. And the pace truck's in. Cade Donnelly will lead them away with Todd Maxfield next to him. And James Oliver goes with him. Matty Beale also, as they thin out almost into a single file for those front 4 cars, but still running 2 lines from 5th backwards.
Yeah, it was definitely an even start there between the Sim Boys cars as well, and really stretch out those first 4 to 6 cars. But as we see, the first 4 have a slight breakaway, and then it's 3 wide from then on back, and a lot of cars still moving around quite a bit.
And with about 93 laps or so to go, it's certainly a long way to go, and no need to sort of try and win and set the world on fire just yet. But yeah, somebody's got to lead, and somebody's got to be in mid-pack. And at the moment, what we're seeing is the cars are mixed up a little bit from that caution, and half a dozen of the guys actually pitting to take advantage of a splash and dash. As James Olsen doing really well out of this on that restart, as he's battling for the front 3 spots there with Cade Donnelly and Todd Maxfield.
Definitely taking it to the Sim Boys. We just had a little bit of contact into turn 3 again, and the car has actually gone around. So under caution for the 2nd time again.
Under caution, somebody's got loose and looped it.
I believe Richard Sanchez.
Richie, okay, our US driver. The only US driver, I believe, in the field tonight. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's the only one that's made it. No, actually, it looks like Andy Barber's had an issue there, and he's gone and tagged the outside wall.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of contact between Rick Vincent and the blue Roffy car.
Rick Sanchez and one of the road cars, one of the Rocky guys, who actually also made contact with Andy, and that's why Andy went up high and tagged the wall. And then the 94 road car has actually come back down into Richie Sanchez. And Richie's gotten loose on that low line. It must be very loose in that low line there. And he's given that a really big clout into the wall, Richard Sanchez. And there are no fast repairs. So that could be Richie's night over, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty big hit, and just demonstrating the new damage model that's come out on iRacing as well, with the wheel kind of flapping around after you got into contact with that wall as well. So definitely a lengthy repair if you can stick it out, but a bit of an innocent bystander in that incident, I do believe.
Yeah, certainly no fault of Richie's on that. He was just collateral damage in that, unfortunately. And yeah, for those that are not aware, a few days ago we actually had a major update for Season 3 in iRacing, and it includes a new damage model. And you saw the result of that right there on the number 05 car, I think it is, for Richie Sanchez, because he's just paid the price of that there. That hitting the wall has taken the nose right off the front of that. There's no air dam on that at all. He's got extensive damage. The number 5 car, and we'll wait and see whether Richie's going to repair it and go back out. This is the first round of a championship, so points will count. And it's a long way to go to the end. So if he wants to stick it out, my hat's off to him, because there's points available at the end of this to launch the championship, and anything's possible as far as what happens to the other drivers is concerned. So even if he's a few laps down, he could easily pick up some good, valuable points in the championship.
Yeah, it's definitely right. And like any points at the end of it can mean a championship or not. I don't know how many times I've seen championships come down to 1 or 2 points at the end of it. So it's always a good thing to kind of keep out on track and do a bit of a recovery drive and just kind of collect all the pieces up as best you can. And yeah, at the end of it, it might mean a championship or not.
Well, at the moment, we've got James Oliver, who's really, he's a big advantage out of both of those caution periods. And on lap 11, we've got James Oliver leading. Jamie Nankervis has also moved right up. Peter Matson and Chris Hoffman, with Gary Wellman rounding out your top 5 there at the moment as we approach going green again. The field's fairly scattered out at the moment, so the guys will need to actually move up a little bit. One of the rulings is that on the restarts, they need to be no more than 2 car lengths apart. And they're obviously a little bit more than that. So we'll see how things go with that when the admins take a look at this afterwards. But there's that one of those, I think that's the super cheap car that actually went west earlier on. Just having a look.
Chris Hoffman.
Yeah, Chris Hoffman, that's right. Sorry, I was trying to see who it was driving that car. And after actually bringing out the first caution, he's moved right up through the field now on the second one on the restart. So we'll see how we go with this. Once again, tyres will be cooling down, brakes will be cooling down. It's going to be interesting to see how the guys handle this. And after 11 laps on the second caution, the guys are now approaching the start-finish line. They should get to green right about now, as James Oliver leads them away with Jamie Nankervis and Peter Matson all over him.
Yeah, definitely a good start by Jamie Oliver. Not really fussed by the whole field being behind him. He's done exactly what he's needed to do now, and we just see Nankervis working that high line as well, trying to get a run on the outside as Peter Matson actually goes 3 wide to the inside.
Yeah, Matson now on the inside line on the left-hand side of James Oliver there, and he's going to take the lead in this, I think.
Yeah, definitely making that low line work as Nankervis just has a little wiggle mid-corner as Wellman now shoots to the inside to try and make that 3 wide.
And because, just another bit of an explanation, it's a white line. So there's no penalties for actually crossing that white line as you go through the tri-oval. Where the yellow line is, you cannot pass below that line. You cannot actually go over that yellow line and continue to race and get any advantage. As Gretton continues, I think Jamie Nankervis, a little bit of a tap from James Oliver. And Gretton sort of managing to hang on there. He's got his nose in front of Oliver there in second place, with Matty Beale on the outside in the 018 Player 1 Mustang. And he's looking for any advantage he can to try and get his nose at the front. And Gary Wellman also down on the inside line, battling for that top 5 position.
No, there's definitely a lot of cars moving around on the racetrack as well, fighting for position, still trying to work out where they sit and kind of settle into that rhythm. But yeah, this race for the lead is definitely heating up between Nankervis and Madison, with Oliver trying to shoot the middle just into turn 3.
Yeah, we just take a look at Greg Spencer there as well, who's not that far off what these guys are up to. And we've got a good mix of cars there at the moment. Gary Wellman, right down on that apron as he comes through the tri-oval. Don't know whether he was trying to avoid something he thought was about to happen or not, but Todd Maxfield has managed to get past Jamie Nankervis, but Jamie's going to put up a fight for this, and basically they are just about side by side for the lead of this race, with Matty Beale on the outside, coming up alongside Todd Maxfield, and he's going to challenge for the lead of this race as well. And James Oliver has dropped back to 4th position, watching these 3 guys battling it out at the front, trying to take the lead.
Yeah, definitely in a prime spot if these front boys get into a bit of a door banging situation as it gets real tight coming through the tri-oval there. But yeah, no team cars linked up really at the moment. We've got Gary Wellman and Cade Donnelly just on the inside line there for the Sim boys. But other than that, there's no real team lineups at the moment, so everyone's kind of fighting for their own space.
Yeah, we're normally used to seeing the Sim boys running nose to tail 3-4 cars in a row, and that doesn't seem to be happening at the moment. And there could be track temps or something. Oh, as we've got contact there, Matty Beale actually manages to tag Todd Maxfield. I don't know whether Todd moved up the track onto Matty or not, or whether Matty actually dropped down a bit. We'll have to take a look at a moment in the replay, but we are under caution on lap 17. And we're going to take a look at the replay in just a minute and see what we can actually see and try and figure out what exactly might have happened there.
So it was Matty Beale in the 018.
018,
and Todd Maxfield in the 16. Just looking at like as it happened live, they were racing 3 wide for quite a while then and getting a bit tight. So we'll just check this replay here, and just coming out of turn 4 is where it happened.
It looks like Todd Maxfield's moving around on track a little bit. Jamie Nankervis moved up on him. And that's where the problem was. Yeah, Todd Maxfield forced to run a little higher on the track. Matty Beale not expecting him to be quite where he was, and he's actually managed to tag him in the right rear quarter, and that's put both of them around facing the wrong way, and Todd Maxfield into the wall. Matt Beale, just like taking a look, it doesn't look like he's got major damage, and just trying to see what the go is with Todd Maxfield's Sim Boys number 16. He's obviously taken a bit of paint and rippled the one side of that car, but it doesn't look like there's any major damage to that vehicle. So that could just be a couple of minutes in the pits, and we'll find out what happens with him in just a moment as we watch James Oliver back at the lead again behind the pace truck with Jamie Nankervis right behind him.
Yeah, so we've got James Oliver still leading this race, and the only car that hasn't actually elected to pit yet. So he's done this first 17 laps without a pit stop. Everyone else has a bit of varied strategies. We've got Jared Williams and Greg Shelton in P2 and 3. They last stopped on lap 10. And then we've got Wellman from the Sim Boys, lap 18, and then the rest of the field is on that strategy with Wellman. So definitely a bigger mix of strategy now as the race continues to carry on.
Well, somebody who will be pretty happy out there at the moment is Greg Sholton. Greg missed the first incident when Chris Hoffman actually looped it for our first yellow flag, and he managed to actually miss that completely. And here we are, lap 18, and Greg Sholton sitting third on track with Gary Wellman behind him, Jamie Nerve and Curtin Curvis in front, and James Oliver actually leading in behind the pace car. So Greg will be pretty happy about that, moving up that far and putting himself in a good position there. He's managed to actually miss all the excitement so far. And I know, Greg, he wouldn't be too happy if you got involved in any of those, I can tell you right now. As we take another look at that Tool Drive livery on the number 19 car of James Oliver. Pretty good livery, that one. There's some really nice cars out there tonight, Joey.
Yeah, a lot of these cars, they've obviously worked quite well on the paints and getting prepared for this series. And I know Toddy Maxfield may have mentioned before about the Simboys paint, and putting a lot of work into that, and really looking forward to this series and doing the paints for them as well.
Yeah, they've got a pretty good sense of humour, the Simboys. We'll get a look at it at some point during the race, but the Simboys have actually got a cartoon version of me sitting on the roof and on the tail of the vehicle on the boots, the beaver panel on the back. They told me about it when we came into the server tonight, and I had a look at it, and just I had a pretty good laugh about it. But yeah, just a bit of a sense of humour from the guys. I think it's their way of just letting me know their appreciation for putting this series on. They've missed it all year so far, and pretty happy to be back on the ovals with the V8 supercars. And the pace truck is peeling off, so James Oliver once again will lead the boys to the green. Jamie Nankervis on his outside, and you got Gary Wellman and Greg Sholton right behind him, and Craig Roffey 030 in that green road car. He's given a bit of a push as we go green, and the boys have got the foot down. And number 41, there is Cade Donnelly, also from the Simboys. He's pushing it pretty hard. Andy Barber is letting Cade Donnelly know he's there. So these guys swapping positions back and forward for the last 20 laps, Joy.
Yeah, it was definitely a good restart, and definitely a lot of cars moving around as well. So Oliver's still holding out on that lead, and it'll be more than likely on the same tyres as everyone else. Just everyone else has come down pit road for fuel as well. So tyre-wise, he should be fine, as we see them starting to fan out 3 wide out of 4.
And so far, we haven't had a major incident with too many cars involved. It's been 1 or 2 cars involved in it from one way or another. And hopefully it will actually continue with that. I'd hate to see the big one tonight, but we'll wait and see how it goes. Normally that's reserved for super speedways. And being a 2-miler here in Michigan, anything's possible. And the car's obviously moving around a little bit as the fuel load increases and decreases. And with the incidents so far in the yellow flag periods, the tyres obviously are losing a bit of temp, so it takes them a couple of laps to get it back to a racing temperature, so to speak. As the boys run pretty much 3 wide through there, and we've got one of the Roffies there on the outside. No, sorry, it's Cade Donnelly in the number 41 Simboys car, and he's challenging James Olsen for the lead. James Oliver, for the lead. And Andy Barber putting his hand up there in the number 20 car.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see there as we had Adam Malone in the 3 car really pushing Andy into turn 1, and then they kind of split and went and followed a car each in front of him, as we just see Oliver moving around a little bit as Andy Barber now takes the lead on the inside there, and still 3 wide as we got the 2 Southern Stars boys on the, pretty much making a Donnelly sandwich with Simboys, Cade Donnelly on the inside, in the middle.
Yeah, I believe that's is that Rob Denton, I think, in the yellow and white car there, number 73. I think that's Rob Denton in the yellow Player 1 car. He's a teammate of Matthew Beale. who's running the dark livery for player one, and just actually taking a look through the field to see what the deal is with Todd Maxfield and Matty Beale, who were involved in that last incident.
So we've got Todd Maxfield. He's a 3 laps down, current holder of the fastest lap of the race as well. And then Chris Hoffman is 5 laps down off the lead of the race. And Beale is, I believe, off the track. Also, Richard Sanchez, just an update on him. He has actually taken that car behind the wall as well.
He's taken it behind the wall. He's 9 laps down now. Unfortunate for Richie. As we said, no fault of his own. He completely collateral damage in that, innocent bystander. And one of the road cars got a little bit loose and made some contact with both Andy Barber and Richie Sanchez, and unfortunately Richie's paid the price for that. So hopefully see you back again next week, Richie, and have a better run. But unfortunately, just not your night tonight. And he wasn't doing that badly, to be honest, early stages of the race. But sometimes it's just the way it goes, as there's a big push in the middle of the pack there.
Yeah, we just had Greg Spencer, I believe, pushing Adam Malone all the way up the back straight. But I think your little birdies might have been right this week, Steve, and you just see all those cars moving up a little bit higher on the track in the turns as well. So definitely that high line seems to be the preferred line at this stage.
Adam is certainly making the most of that with Greg Spencer behind him. He's in the lead of the race at the moment, just managing to hold the nose ahead of James Olsen in the 19 car, who's now moved up right behind. Nice move there from the number 19 car, splitting Adam Malone and Greg Spencer. But we've got the 94 car with the road livery on it, one of the Roffies. He's actually now down low on that inside line, and he's taken the lead. He's got Greg Sholton behind him and Cade Donnelly pushing him along as well. And Greg's now sort of gone mid-track a little bit. He's going to make a move to try and take the lead away from the 94 car. And the 73 car, the yellow Player One SimGear team vehicle, is also right there in the mix of it.
Yeah, definitely seeing a lot of these cars still moving around though, but Rick Vincent electing that bottom line right on that yellow line the whole way around the racetrack as well. So he's quite comfortable down there leading this one with Greg Sholton tucked in behind, and then Malone just falling back a little bit on the outside, but Greg Spencer's just coming back to his rear bumper down. So hopefully they will create that big push, as Andy Barber's right behind Greg as well. So they'll look to link those 3 drivers up and give them a decent push and make their way hopefully back to the front of this pack.
Yeah, my mistake on that. I said it was one of the Roffies driving that blue 94 car for the road racing team. But yeah, of course, it's Rick Vincent. And the top 5 at the moment are Rick Vincent, and Oliver's just taken the lead away from him. So Vincent drops back to second. Greg Sholton in third. Rob Denton in fourth in that 73 car. And Adam Malone holding down fifth. But they've got a big angry pack right behind them who are certainly not letting him get away.
No, they're definitely chasing him and just electing these different lines and not trying to follow the car directly through the corners, just to get that aero wash kind of eliminated from the corner, as well as we see Greg Sholton still fighting up here in P4 at the moment, just kind of moving, showing his nose here and there, and looking to move even more forward to the front. So as he looks to the inside of Malone and too wide for the lead again between Oliver and Vincent.
Yeah, Rick Vincent had taken the lead away from Oliver, and Oliver's given him a little bit of a tap and dropped to the inside line. And they're pretty much side by side there. It's swapping back and forth between the two of them. As Adam Malone makes a move on the outside, Greg Sholton, Rob Denton, and Greg Spencer right behind those 3 front cars. They're not letting him get away with it, though.
No, definitely not, as we see 3x3 at the front of this pack now. So 3 lanes back, 3 lanes wide, as Adam Malone gets a monster run up the front, as just Oliver just fills that gap as well in between Malone and Greg Spencer, as well as we just have a little bit of a tap and we've got cars sideways.
Oh, heavens above. Yep, that's going to be a mess. Unfortunately, yeah, that was just a car on the inside line that got a little bit loose, and the rear stepped out on him and he tagged the car on the inside of him, which I think might have actually been Greg Sholton. I'm not sure. We'll have a look at the replay in just a minute, folks.
Yeah, definitely doesn't want to happen as far forward in that pack as it did. Caught up quite a few cars here, but just looking back on the replay now, we were 3 wide and went to go 4 wide, I believe, into turn 3.
Yeah, Paul Jackson, it was actually on the inside in that Ayatora car. And yeah, he's just got the wiggles up and given Greg Sholton a bit of a tap. Greg's got loose and gone into James Olsen. But Greg's managed to avoid any major damage. Can't say the same for James Olsen, though, unfortunately, as he's gone high up on the track to the outside in front of all those oncoming vehicles. And 2 or 3 of them have actually managed to contact with him. I think is that Chris Hoffman in the Super Cheap cars come down and actually made contact with somebody on the inside line trying to avoid the incident.
Yeah, it's a bit hard with all the smokers. I believe we're on board with Troy Mortensen getting a bit of a front row view here. So as you see, Oliver just come around and then obviously know where to go for everyone else. But it was just the smallest little wiggle, and then the aftermath just magnifies as it goes on.
Barely even noticeable. Just enough of a wiggle for him to contact with Greg Sholton, and basically was the catalyst for what came after. Yeah, lucky for Greg, who copped the initial impact. He doesn't look like he's got any real damage out of that, and he's currently sitting second behind the pace truck. As the boys do what they've got to do in the pits, and we'll wait and see what happens with James Olsen. I may have said James Oliver earlier, but it's James Olsen. And Paul Jackson, who actually initiated that, he started that, and he's actually now sitting in first place behind the pace truck with Greg Sholton behind him.
Yeah, the initial little wiggle contact that happened with that incident is the first 2 drivers now. So we've got PJ in P1. He last stopped on lap 19, and Greg Sholton on lap 10. So slightly older tyres and less fuel. And then we've got Adam Malone leading the pack of this round of pit stops above Wellman and Craig Roffey, which is your top 5.
As we hit. And we're going to go to an ad break now, so we'll pay some bills and we'll be back in a moment with the OzOval series, round 1 at Michigan.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back. We are back with this, and we are, I think, green, as James Olsen leads the pack away with Kate Donnelly right behind him.
So we're just going back to green now. They're just coming around turn 4. We've got Paul Jackson in first place with Adam Malone on his outside. Lap 33 coming to lap 34 of round 1 at Michigan.
As the boys take advantage of the apron going through that tri-oval across the start-finish line, and James Olsen leads them away with Kate Donnelly on the outside looking to take that lead, and Andy Barber right in between him with his teammate Adam Malone behind him.
We got Paul Jackson leading out to the front. I'm not sure how that's gone, but Yeah, we got Paul
No,
Jackson
my
out the front.
mistake. Sorry, I was looking on I was looking at the delay. I was looking at the wrong screen. Sorry.
That's all right. We got Paul Jackson out front with Roffey just taken to the inside, taking over the lead as well. So these boys will more than likely have fresh tyres now and really fighting for those positions early before settling in and getting to about the 1/3 mark so far.
And the reason I was on delay is I was just checking the socials. Good day to Abigail Foster, who's in there at the moment. And she said that she realises now because she was wondering how I was going to race and commentate. Well, I'm a male and I can't do two things at once, so I'm only going to do the commentary.
Sometimes it might make for a pretty good night if commentate and broadcast at the same time, or commentate and race, at the same time. Be a pretty good feat. But I'm seeing a lot of green at the front of this field, Steve.
Yeah, there is a lot of green. Peter Gretton at the front there in the GSRC green and orange car. And he's got Craig Roffey next to him and Adam Malone on the outside there. They're both in green cars. So, yep, a lot of green there. Kate Donnelly, the bit of a spoiler in that, and the number 41 blue Simboys car.
Yeah, sticking his nose up the front as well as he's got, I believe that's Nankerverse coming to the back of him as well as Matson just drops down in front along with Craig Roffey as well. So a few blocks and kind of using that low line as well early on after this restart. But Adam Malone kind of sticking up the outside there and really got a run going there he's got two row cars, about to be three, with Craig Roffey just moving up in front of Malone.
Yeah, so Peter Matson leading this one. And he's got Craig Roffey on his outside. He's trying real hard to take the lead away from him. Adam Malone, Kate Donnelly. We've got another one of I think it's Tony Roffey there in the yellow 85 car. And Jamie Nankervis also in the mix there. Rick Vincent in the blue road car. Gary Wellman in 8th. Greg Spencer in 9th in the Pinnacle vehicle. And number 10, rounding out your top 10 at the moment, is Wade Sheedy in the 03 car.
Yeah, we definitely see all these cars moved around, but two distinct lines now as well. So not so much three wide action, but definitely these new tyres are really settling in as we saw Paul Jackson restart from the front row on this restart. Already just gone to the back of the pack here and kind of just watching it all unfold as well, but he'll have that set of tyres up his sleeve for a bit later on if needed as well. So a bit of that mixed strategy happening still.
And those incidents and caution periods starting to take their toll a little bit, Joy. Andy Barber's back to a lap down. And what have we got? Tristan Koch in the 550 is a lap down. Greg Sholton now 2 laps down. But I believe he's still circulating okay. He must have stopped to fix some damage during that last incident.
Yeah, we've had a couple of lengthy pit stops as we've got Jared Williams, Andrew Hoffman and Troy Mortensen currently sitting on pit road still getting repairs. But yeah, Andy Barber, first car 1 lap down, he'll be hoping for a caution as well to get that lucky dog free pass that he would get if the caution does come out, being the first car 1 lap down.
Yep.
But he's also still battling as Tristan Koch is only about 3 seconds behind him, fighting for that lucky dog position as well. So no time to rest still.
And we're seeing a little bit of a change in tactics here at the moment, Job. The guys seem to be, concentrating more on the lower line. We don't have too many people on that far outside. The outside line at the moment, up the back straight, is there. But through the turns, they're more mid-track. We don't really see the 3 wide racing at the moment.
Yeah, they've definitely settled it down a little bit now as we get lap 40 of 100. So just settling into that rhythm and kind of just getting through this middle stint of the race in the middle section. As we don't see the 3 wide at the moment as the first 4 cars are all single file, and then we've got a couple of cars 2 wide behind them.
And Craig Roffey actually moves to centre track, so he's basically on the outside line. But Adam Malone's not too happy with that, and he's actually going to take the far outside. So we've got a little bit of almost 3 wide action there at the moment. But Pete Matson continues to lead this in the 173 GSRC Commodore. And we've got Jamie Nankervis sitting in third, and in between them is Kate Donnelly in the 41 Simboys car.
Yeah, it's definitely still tight, and with the fuel capacity being only 70% as well, maybe they're just kind of settling in and staying in a line to save a bit of fuel, as well as we just see Tristan Koch coming around turn 2 as well.
Yep.
He is still one lap down, but chasing down Andy Barber, which I believe is closing the gap to Andy Barber as well.
And the pack's actually closing in on these guys, I think. Todd Maxfield and Tristan Koch both there, not far in front of Peter Matson leading the race. And if they're not careful, they may end up going another lap down, Joy.
Yeah, they're going to have to be a bit wary, and especially with running by themselves versus a pack, you can see the pack, how quickly they'll actually catch these cars as well. So it's not completely with the damage, but yeah, with the draft and everything, as they go 3 wide, just getting around at Todd Maxfield.
Yep.
And Adam Malone is still hanging on that outside and really committing to that outside line, as well as he gets a pretty decent run down the back straight into turn 3.
Yeah, and we've actually had Peter Matson relinquish the lead to Adam Malone, who's now moved down to the low line inside as they all start to pass Tristan Koch to put another lap on him. So that's Todd Maxfield and Tristan Koch just gone another lap down as the field files through, and they're all chasing down Andy Barber, and he could be the next guy to go another lap down.
Yeah, he's definitely pretty close here, as Adam Malone just drops to the inside here as well, so he doesn't want to kind of hang around and give up any time after getting this lead, as it gets really tight off of turn 2 then with Peter Matson and Kate Donnelly. But we've got Nankervis getting a run up behind Pete Matson as well, and then we've got the road cars working together as well, like really working towards the front.
I thought Cade and Andy were going to actually come together there for a moment, and we were going to see another caution period. But Cade's moved right up in behind Andy's teammate Adam Malone in one of the Sky Point cars there. And we've got Rick Vincent back in the mix there at the moment, and he's actually sitting in behind Peter Matson and Jamie Nankervis. And Matson and Nankervis fighting for the lead of this one. Adam Malone, Rick Vincent, Kate Donnelly, and I believe that is Tony Roffey in the yellow car there, also throwing his hat in the ring, letting the guys know that he's there and he wants to actually get up the front as well.
Yeah, you're starting to see a little bit more 3-wide action up the front as well, and I do believe it's Chris Hoffman, a bit of an update. He's actually lost his internet connection, so he'll be behind the wall as well from a technical difficulty.
I think it's no coincidence that the guys have gone 3 wide there. They've had a few laps to start to get that fuel load down a little bit. So obviously with the full fuel load, the cars are not quite as stable as they want them to be on that lower half of the track, which is the reports that we got from the testing. And that appears to be coming true. And now we've got the outside line being used a bit more. Adam Malone is really dedicating himself to that outside line. He's got Kate Donnelly behind him. And Peter Matson just keeping his nose in front. And he's got Rick Vincent right behind him.
Yeah, definitely committing to that outside still by Adam Malone, but it's a bit vulnerable. It leaves yourself a little bit vulnerable if some incident does happen lower down, as we saw in that last caution. Everything kind of funnels up the racetrack in that kind of incident and the collision. So, but definitely making it work and most comfortable out there, as we just see him run the middle through 3 and 4 then as well, which is a little bit lower than he's been running, but he's got Donnelly, Spencer and Paul Jackson up there with him, helping him out, as majority of the field are running that bottom line still. So we'll see if they tend to move up and who kind of moves up, and if there's any blocks, and see how they go on the inside. But definitely working a little bit better at the moment on the low line, with Malone and Donnelly really forwarding that high line, as we just see Rick Vincent move up in front of Malone.
Yeah, somebody else running that outside line a lot tonight at the moment seems to be Greg Spencer. He spent a lot of time out there tonight, and as the fuel load comes down, he seems to spend more and more time out there. So that appears to be what they're doing. Although the guys down on the low line are certainly not doing too shabbily at the moment. Pete Matson continues to lead this from Jamie Nankervis and Tony Roffey.
There we just see Adam Malone shoot the middle to get past Rick Vincent on the, in the middle, past him as well. But yeah, we go to wide pretty much majority of the pack now. Still those distinct two lines as we go around the racetrack here at Michigan, as we are one lap away from getting to the halfway point of round one.
Yep, lap 49, and we're about to click over for lap 50. So halfway mark, and certainly some much more stable racing on these cars at the moment. The early stages, there was a little bit of wiggle, a little bit of push and shove. They've certainly settled down a little bit now by the mid-race mark.
Yeah, definitely settled down a lot more as we see Matson kind of stuck in the middle here with Nankervis on the inside and Malone on the outside. But we're about 15 laps green flag running at the moment since that last restart on this set of tyres as well. So getting a little bit loose, and we are seeing a few more cars just edging up the racetrack a little bit more. But Matson will hang on that white line and really most comfortable by the look of it on the inside leading this one.
Yeah, that inside line of Matson and Curvis, Roffey, Wellman, and the other guys behind them, they're definitely pretty happy, although they've now moved a little bit further to the mid-track, but very happy on that low line. Matson's decided to move up in front of Malone and almost taking the high line there, but he's still pretty much mid-track. And then Curvis has taken advantage of that, and he's taken the lead away from him. And Tony Roffey coming up on the inside to take second spot away from the GSRC car of Peter Matson. And we've got a lap car just ahead of him now, Greg Shelton, who's in big danger of going down another lap.
Yeah, he's currently 2 laps down in this one, but just hanging it up against the wall and hopefully just staying out of these guys' way as they go 2 wide again. So hopefully they don't go 3 wide and they can get past Greg here in 3 and 4. But yeah, they've just gone 2 wide again now. So hopefully a little bit of an easier tactic, but you can use these lap cars as picks as well to kind of hold up your opposition and get past them that way as well.
Tristan Koch sitting in 13th at the moment is 2 laps down, and he's actually the first car that is laps down at all. So if there's an incident, then he should... Oh, Greg gives the wall a bit of a bump. Yeah, it looked like he's just trying to keep out of the way there and misjudged how close he was to the wall and given the boys plenty of racing room. But Tristo should be the guy that gets the lucky dog if there's an incident or a caution period in the next few laps. He's sitting around about 13.
Yeah, he's definitely in line for that lucky dog pass at the moment, being 2 laps down. So he will get one of those laps back. His closest opponent with that one in that fight is Andy Barber, now 6 seconds behind Tristan. So he's got a little bit of a buffer there, but definitely not set in stone if a caution does come out.
Yeah, Adam Malone, who got his nose in front of Jamie Nankervis, has dropped back to second, third now, with Nankervis back in the lead and Malone back into second as they came through that turn, because Adam Malone, being on the outside, lost a little bit of the advantage that he had with his nose in front, and Nankervis down on the lower line had a little bit more speed, and he's managed to actually take the lead back from him. So the top 5 at the moment, lap 54 as we click over to 55, is Adam Malone now got his nose back in front with Nankervis, Tony Roffey, Pete Matson, and Gary Wellman. That's your top 5 at the moment as we're on lap 55 of 100. So some good stable racing here at the moment. So we'll get some good green flag racing in, and it's going to be interesting to see how long this lasts. And if it lasts to a pit stop, we could see some green flag pit stops, and that'll mix up the field even further, Jai.
Yeah, it definitely will. And one driver I'm keeping one eye on at the moment is Paul Jackson. On that last restarted from the number 1 position, but he's also 35 laps into this stint, last pitting on lap 19. So if the green flag pit stops do come about, he'll be the first one that would have to hit pit road. So he'll be maybe hoping for a caution with about a 12 lap deficit in tyres and fuel.
he'll probably be hoping for it. At the same time, depending on how much out of sync he is with the pit stops and with the rest of the field, he could also even maybe be looking to try and stretch it as far as possible and maybe go for an undercut. If there's not a caution period in the next 10 laps or so, I see that Paul's he's going to have to pit. I'd say there won't be a whole lot more fuel in it than that.
Yeah, he's closest. Majority of the field last stopped on lap 35, so that was about 20 laps ago. So there's quite a big deficit in the strategy between Paul and the rest of the field. So if he does have to come down for a green flag stop, he might be on his own, or he might link up with a few people, and a few people might short pit as well and get a bit of a different strategy that way, as we just seen.
Tony Rocky and Nankervis, almost came to blows.
Yeah, a bit of a contact, but everything going back straight as they head into turn one to start lap 58 of 100.
And Adam Malone, absolutely still out there. He's all over this at the moment. He's grabbing that outside again. And basically we've got three wide at the front there at the moment with Nankervis, Tony Roffey and Adam Malone. Peter Matson and Rick Vincent also in the mix. Gary Wellman sitting right there behind Tony Roffey. So those front 5 or 6 cars, there's a couple of spaces between them. But there's certainly not a lot of in it as far as who's doing what, because the guys seem to have they'll swap positions as they go through the turns and then swap again on the straights. So there's nobody's a clear leader at the moment. They just back and forward.
Yeah, they're giving each other a bit more room than they did at the start of the race, but that low line, especially through 3 and 4 here, the cars are just starting to move around a little bit more as they hit the centre. So as we see Nankervis just have a little bit of a wiggle as he got to that yellow line, but Malone's catching him quite quickly to give him a helping hand down the front straight. As we got Matson still just leading that lap on the outside. Yeah,
as they come through the turn, Nankervis manages to get up alongside Matson, and he'll probably put his nose in front, which is pretty much what he's done, only just. But then they come on the straight. Matson will probably have the pace to get his nose back in front again, and they'll swap positions again. But it's pretty much side by side at the moment. Matson's been pushed along by Rick Vincent, and then Curvis being pushed along by Adam Malone.
Which Adam's actually gone back down to the bottom of the racetrack and kind of hugging that white line as well. So electing not to stay up top at the moment and try this bottom line, as Rick Vincent has given Peter Matson a hell of a push down the front straight into turn one.
And Craig Roffey on the outside line there, a couple of car lengths back from Rick Vincent. Keeping an eye on what's happening at the front here on lap 61 of 100. And Kate Donnelly sitting a few spots back there, the early leader of the race, and quite happy to obviously be where he is and see how this pans out when these guys swapping positions, fuel loads dropping. The tyre wear is probably not that bad here for the V8 supercars, so that won't be too bad. Adam Malone still on that low line though behind Jamie Nankervis as Peter Matson continues to get his nose in front with Rick Vincent now on his outside as Peter Matson drops down in front of Jamie Nankervis.
Yeah, still moving around quite a lot, but we've got Paul Jackson, just mentioned before. He's actually come down pit road on lap 59 as well, so he's currently 1 lap down, but the only car 1 lap down, which means he's in that lucky dog position. So a little bit covered off if a caution does come out. But he's got Andy Barber not too far behind him as well. So he's not out there alone. And he can maybe use a couple of these other boys to save fuel and still have that strategy working. But back to the front, we've got Matson just moving up the track and Nankervis looking to his inside, getting a push from Malone. And then we've got Vincent and Tony and Craig Roffey, followed by Wellman, Davison, Donnelly, and Greg Spencer to round out your top 10.
as they continue to swap positions back and forward. Matson running that centre line down the middle of the track. Almost got his nose in front there, but Nankervis manages to hold on to the first place. Matson gets his nose in front now, and it's registering that he's the leader, but Nankervis has now taken the lead back again, all in the space of a couple of 100 metres. And Adam Malone sitting there in behind Jamie Nankervis in third place as Matson gets a car length, just about a car length in front of Nankervis, but Nankervis will probably take that back going through this turn down on that inside line.
I've just done a little bit of quick math, and if with the pit stop strategy to make it home, you're looking at about around this time, but with their current pit stops and their current strategies at the moment, you're looking at around the lap 74 to 75 mark on fuel that they can actually get there. So the next 10 laps should be quite busy on pit lane if we stay green.
Yeah, those green flag pit stops will mix it up if we get them. By the look at this at the moment, it's all fairly stable and straightforward stuff. So let's hope they continue that, and we'll see what happens if we do get the green flag pit stops.
Yeah, it'll definitely make things interesting as we see Matson actually elect to go down pit lane right now as well. So jumping out from the lead, and he's the first one to blink on that majority strategy that these drivers are on.
So we've got Andy Barber and Todd Maxfield in the pits. Peter Matson in the pits. So they're a little bit earlier than what we expected.
They should be able to make it home from here anyway.
Yeah, with the fuel load, I'm thinking that they could probably make it from here, which is why these guys have pitted now. And they'll probably try and gain an advantage out of this. As we watch the super cheap car and one of the everything simulated cars,
Andrew Hoffman and Jared Williams. No,
Jared Williams. Sorry, in the 96, and Andrew Hoffman in the other super cheap car. He's the only one left out there at the moment, I think, with Chris Hoffman, I think, behind the wall.
As we see this lead pack again, just got like dialing out single file as well. As we see, I think Malone just hit the brakes coming to pit road. He's coming by himself, the rest are staying out as well. But everyone's single file and kind of just knowing that this pit stop's coming up and just calming down before they elect to do their final stop of this one.
Yeah, so going to be interesting to see how we go with this. Lap 68 of 100. Adam Malone actually relinquishes his spot at the front of the field and pulls in. Now, that'll probably be his last stop. And it looks like he's going to take tyres and fuel.
Yeah, more than likely taking another set of tyres and fuel. It's hard to tell in the supercars as well. We just see Rick Vincent lighting up into pit lane as we've got Vincent, Nankervis, Craig Roffey, Tony Roffey and Greg Spencer all coming down pit lane here on lap 69. But yeah, it's definitely hard to tell when they do take tyres in the supercars as they get jacked up as they get fuel anyway. So
yeah,
sometimes it's a little bit difficult.
Even if they're only taking fuel on board, the cars are jacked up, unlike NASCAR, which will only jack up if they're actually changing tyres. But the V8 supercars, they jack up to get the fuel, much like in real life, whether they're getting tyres or not. That's just the way they are, so that's what's built into it in iRacing. As the boys, Tony Roffey now completed his stop and he's back on his way out of there. Craig Roffey in the 030, Greg Spencer, he's on his way out now.
I believe Rick Vincent may have got a speeding on entry penalty, hence still being in the box.
That was the way he entered the pits there, and I think he locked a brake up or something and got himself sideways a bit. We're looking at Wade Sheedy, I think it is at the moment, in the 03 car. He's in the lead, but now he's locked him up coming into pits a little bit too hot as he comes in for his final stop.
Yeah, just locking the rears up a little bit there, but we'll just see. I think Troy Davison's in pit lane as well. Gary Wellman, they've all done their final stops. So we'll see how this all plays out and who comes out to the lead, with Paul Jackson being the first one that actually stopped. But I am seeing that he's just stopped again as well. So he probably wasn't able to make it all the way to the finish. So he's had to stop again. So that would leave Peter Matson was the first car to do this final stop.
And good day to Sarah Kay in the live chat there at the moment in YouTube chat. And good day to her. Hope she's enjoying the racing. As we take a look, I'm looking at the moment, and with the green flag pit stop, it's mixing things up pretty well. And pretty much Greg Spencer is in 10th place, and he's the last car on the lead lap. But Rick Vincent, Paul Jackson, Greg Sholton is down 2 laps down. Rick Vincent and Paul Jackson 1 lap down. But that may sort itself out because of the green flag pit stops. It'll show them as being a lap down at the moment.
So Wade's had a pretty good pit stop here. He's jumped a lot of these boys as well. So he's just done his final pit stop, and he's come out in front of the rest of the pack by quite a little margin as well, but he is by himself. 2.7 seconds at the moment is the gap between Wade and Gary Wellman in second place, but about 5 seconds quicker on the pit stop as well, so not as much fuel needed to get home.
Yeah, not as much fuel, and obviously no tyre change, because that would explain the quicker pit stop.
No, definitely right. But as we'll do our final step away and just put some ads and sponsors up, and we'll be back with you shortly.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
And welcome back to round one at Michigan. As we are still having a look at Wade Sheedy, that gap's gone down to about half a second as well, so this pack's really caught up to him, but he's put himself in a really good position as we see, taking a look out the back of Wade Sheedy. Nankervis really coming up. Is he going to push? No, he's elected to go to the outside as well. So we've got Nankervis just going around the outside, followed by, I think, Craig Roffey and Tony Roffey. Wade still holding on to third on the inside there. Peter Matson, Adam Malone, and Rick Vincent are the drivers in this lead pack. So we've just got a pack of 6 cars leading this one, and we've got Gary Wellman giving chase in that 7th spot.
Yeah, I'd say Wade had a bit of a butt pucker moment there. Tony Roffey moved down on him, and he had to take evasive action in order to avoid him. But yeah, I'd say Wade is probably going to suffer from older tyres at this point. Any of the guys who put fresh rubber on at that last stop will have the advantage here for the foreseeable future in the race. But I'm not aware of how worn Wade's tyres are. I'm not sure when he actually put a set on, but his quick pit stop tells me that it was only fuel. And if that's the case, then the guys who pitted and took a longer pit stop for tyres. Well, you're seeing probably the result of that now as they not only caught him but passed him with great ease.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a split strategy, but if a late caution does come out and he's got that extra set of tyres up his sleeve, look for him to bolt out on and really go ham to finish this one off and have that quite big advantage over the other drivers having that extra set of tyres up his sleeve at the moment as well. But yeah, we've got 10 cars still on the lead lap with Rick Vincent holding that lucky dog position if a caution does come out, but fighting Paul Jackson with only a gap of 1.8 seconds behind Vincent as well.
As Jamie Nankervis leads this one on lap 78, and he's got Craig Roffey all over the back of him and Adam Malone on the outside wanting a piece of it as well. Tony Roffey in behind Craig Roffey, so you've got the two road cars running nose to tail there, and Peter Matson in behind them. Who's led a reasonable chunk of this race as well. Wade Sheedy's not dropping off; he's holding on to the back of Peter Matson. So it could also have just been the advantage they had that they were in a pack when they were approaching Wade Sheedy, and he's just not washing off any speed at the moment. He's sticking with the back of Peter Matson.
Yeah, he's definitely holding strong. So it might have just been the draft that has allowed the rest of these guys to catch up to them as well. So it's just getting down to the end of the wire here with 20 laps to go once they hit the line. As we've got Nankervis leading the pack over Adam Malone, fighting 2 by 2 at the moment. Just pushing 3 wide now with, I think that is it, Gary Wellman just stuck on the inside there. Well, as we just get a car around this Maxfield in the back of Paul Jackson as a yellow flag comes out as well. As we might just have another car got involved. I think that may have been Greg Sholter just getting a little tap in that at the moment. But yeah, pace truck's out again on lap 80 of 100.
And Paul Jackson's opted to quit to the pits there rather than drive it back. Todd Maxfield, just a little bit of a tap on the back of Paul Jackson. And we'll just take a look and see how that unfolded. And he's given him the tap there and actually spun him. It's quite strange because he was fairly centred on the back of Paul Jackson's Commodore on the 231 Aotura Racing. But both of them have actually paid the price for that one. And it looks like the front air dam on Toddy's car's a little bit loose. And that's where Paul Jackson has actually gone sideways, and Greg Sholton paid the price for that coming through, trying to go around him. So unfortunately, Greg unable to avoid him there. Nowhere to go, and he's copped a bit of damage there as well. So, but that's where PJ's actually quit back to the pits rather than drive it back. And in the socials, good day to Shannon Wright, who's joined us in the YouTube chat. And he's here to actually support the ERS team. And good to have you watching the broadcast. He's pretty happy. He likes what he sees. And that's great. Great to have you with us. So we're all sitting behind the pace truck there at the moment. Adam Malone has gone into the pits. And on lap 81, we're under caution. So he's actually gone in. I'm not sure whether he'll need fuel, but he may have a set of tyres up his sleeve that he didn't use on the previous stop. So we'll see what happens with Adam at the moment. And as we said, the car will go up in the air anyway, whether he's getting tyres or not. We'll just keep an eye on the time of the pit stop should tell us whether he's getting fuel or not. That was pretty quick. So I think he's just got a splash and dash for fuel in case there's a GWC.
Yeah, so his pit stop was just over 9 seconds, so 9.97.
Well, so he may have thrown a set of tyres on then, yeah.
Yeah, that's all the time it takes to fill or to change tyres in the supercar on the iRacing service. Fuel does take quite a bit longer than tyres, so tyres are normally always covered, but it was quite a late dive to pit road by Adam Malone.
Yeah, probably just a last-second decision. He figured now was the time to do it. with about 18 laps to go behind the pace car. So we're probably looking at around about 16 laps under green once we get going again. And Jamie Nankervis leads this from Craig Roffey, Tony Roffey, Peter Matson, and Gary Wellman rounds out the top 5 at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely winding down, but Adam Malone will actually, he's only gone down to 10th at the moment, being the last car on the lead lap. So as we come to 1 to go, all the lap cars will have to move to the side and let Adam Malone back into that 10th spot, being on the lead lap still. So he hasn't really lost too many. He lost about 8 positions, but he will be on fresh tyres, and there's still enough time to get back to the front.
There's still plenty of laps left for him to actually make a charge. All you got to do is be on the lead lap at this point of the race, and you're in with a chance. There's no idea what's going to happen from this point on. The car's in front. As we've seen, it's very easy to get out of shape in these cars here, and that little tap that Todd Maxfield gave Paul Jackson was enough to bring out the caution. So, and heavily damaged both vehicles.
Yeah, with how close these boys run and the speeds they do as well, it's just that split second or just making one movement and maybe 2 drivers trying to get to the same free spot of real estate. When they make that decision, it can go a bit haywire very quickly. So we'll restart just here on lap 84 when we take the green flag. As we just look at the base truck leading the field around lap turn 3 and 4, sorry. So we'll have a Nankervis and a Craig Roffey battling out on the front row on this restart.
Peter Matson sitting in behind Craig Roffey on that mid-track outside line. And Wade Shee is also up there in the top 6. He's sitting there in 6th place in that front 3 rows. Cade Donnelly is also sitting in amongst it there. As we go green, and then Curvis leads them away. Gets a good start on that. I think he might have caught Craig Roffey napping a little bit. Tony Roffey side by side with Craig Roffey, and Gary Wellman right in behind the yellow car there, the number 85 of Tony Roffey.
Yeah, Nankervis definitely had a good jump there, getting out in front, but the pack just comes up behind them now as we see Adam Malone just on that outside again, where we've seen him pretty much all night long. So back to where he's comfortable, and definitely got the grip as he goes 3 wide with Davison and Sheedy on the low side of him there, as he's already up to about 7th position already on this restart.
And Troy Davidson, who was at the front earlier in the race, is now sitting right up behind Gary Wellman there, just down on that low line, and he's keeping his hand in there, knowing that there's every chance that he could take advantage of this situation in the Simboys car.
Yeah, Troy's had quite a quiet night, starting on the front row tonight, and then he's kind of just been floating around the mid-pack to the back of the pack pretty much all night long, keeping out of trouble. But with only about 15 laps to go, he's back at the pointy end, back on the lead lap, and giving himself a pretty good chance to take this one out.
As Matson continues on that outside line or mid-track behind Craig Roffey in the 030 road car. But Nankervis continues to lead from Craig Roffey, Tony Roffey, and Peter Matson.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of movement up the front, as we just saw Nankervis just hit that white line on the middle of turn 2 as well, and really got his car a little bit loose as well, which has dropped a bit of momentum back. Craig Roffey just having about half a car width out front at the moment, with Matson right on his tail. Malone and now Rick Vincent are working on that outside, with Andy Barber coming to run maybe a bit of a helping hand to Adam Malone.
Yeah, Rick Vincent in behind Adam Malone there, and Andy Barber in behind him on that outside line. So we'll see how these guys use that outside line for the remaining 13 or so laps. But as we're on board at the moment, taking a look at the back of Wade Sheedy's car, and Adam Malone loving that outside, absolutely loving it. Gary Wellman on the inside line.
As we look at the front windscreen from Cade Donnelly, pretty much nowhere to go from him as they're 3 wide in front of him with Tony Roffey, Wade Sheedy and Adam Malone. But this centre mid-line has really got the momentum here, as you could just see him creeping up on Nankervis on the bottom line there, as we still 3 wide, majority through the pack.
Greg Spencer's also using that midline as well, sitting in behind Kate Donnelly in the 41 car. So we are definitely 3 wide at the moment around Michigan.
Yeah, you can almost put a blanket over this whole pack at the moment, Steve.
Yeah, you could, just about. It's just about the whole field. But, yeah, I'm just watching Adam Malone there at the moment. He's not really getting a lot of advantage from that outside line at the moment. That midline does definitely seem to have some pace. With Craig Roffey and Jamie Nankervis side by side, Peter Matson and Tony Roffey, as well as Wade Sheedy and Gary Wellman. Those front 6 cars, and Matson trying to get some air in it, as Wade Sheedy's decided to drop to the outside there, make it 3 wide across the front of this field.
Yeah, he went 4 wide for just a second there as well, but last lap, not sure what happened between Malone and Vincent, but Malone just got in the wall a little bit and checked him up, but Malone just looking to the outside now, trying to make it 4 wide as well. So still got Nankervis and Roffey in the lead at the moment, and 4 wide right behind him as Wade Sheedy goes for the lead on the outside as well.
Yeah, and then Nankervis managing to hold his nose in front there down on that low line. He's definitely having an advantage down there, but Roffey's not letting him go as Roffey moves across to the outside in front of Wade Sheedy.
And we just see Roffey swapping lines a bit here at the moment. Craig Roffey in the 030. Just maybe looking those, like using those blocks and using the cars behind them to get a run to maybe push himself past Nankervis and outright lead.
Yeah, but I think that's what he was trying to do by getting in front of... and we've got a bit of contact there. Tony Roffey's forced to cross onto the infield. No caution. We're still under green. Great save from Tony Roffey. Managed to hang on to that.
Yeah, good to stay green. Hopefully he can just stay on this lead pack as well. He looks like he may be in the draft still. But yeah, definitely shot across the grass. It's normally you see a bit of red instead of green if that happens to you.
Yeah, unfortunately for Tony though, that's put him probably too far back. Unless there's a caution, he's probably a little bit too far back.
So we just see replay here. They are just 3 wide at this time. A little bit of a wiggle, and then we see a bit of contact, and then comes down and just a bit of a door slam for poor Tony. Shoots him across the grass. Great save.
Peter Matson giving him a bit of a tap hello.
It was definitely a great save, and he has managed to tag on to the back of this pack as well. So back five at the moment.
Matson's now, he didn't even get out of shape on that one. He's moved down on Tony Roffey and basically taken the spot away that Roffey was occupying in behind Jamie Nankervis, who's side by side with Craig Roffey. Wade Sheedy right in the mix of this with Peter Matson and Kate Donnelly right up in behind Wade Sheedy. Adam Malone still hanging on to that outside line with Rick Vincent behind him, and then Andy Barber.
As you see, Greg Spencer actually moved up to the outside as well. Earlier in the race, he was helping Malone on that outside as well. But we're just looking at, again, 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. As we've still got Nankervis and Craig Roffey fighting out for the top spot at the moment with the whole pack right behind them.
It looks like Wade Sheedy's keeping an eye on that gap in between Nankervis and Craig Roffey. And if it gets wide enough, I've got a feeling Wade Sheedy's going to try and take advantage of that. But he'll need to actually have the speed to get through there. And he's going to have to be very careful because Craig Roffey's not really giving him much room there to move down in between those front 2 cars as Peter Matson gets right up in behind Nankervis and he gets a bit of a wiggle up.
Yeah, it was quite a shot, but it may have just lost him enough momentum to let Craig Roffey clear Nankervis. But Nankervis actually held on quite well through turn 3 and 4 on the bottom line at the moment. So they're still side by side as we see a very tight 3 wide in front of Troy Davison on board at the moment as well. As Tony Roffey goes to his outside. So he was able to keep on to the back of this pack and still put himself in a position to get a good finish on this one, but just calming down a little bit at the front. But a lot of bump drafting beginning to happen with only 5 laps to go.
Yeah, good recovery from Tony Roffey. Now he's put himself right up back into top 5 contention with only about 4 or 5 laps to go in this one. And we've still got Nan Curvis and Craig Roffey side by side. Wade Sheedy, a little bit of a wiggle up there. So he's probably just in a bit of dirty air with Cade Donnelly right up behind him. And, there we go. We've got, Rick Vincent. Rick Vincent just pushed the envelope a little bit. And that's actually involved Greg Spencer in that one, unfortunately, and we are under caution.
Yeah, definitely not what we wanted to see as Greg Spencer and Rick Vincent get into a bit of contact into turn 1. As we just check out the replay, Rick Vincent just in the middle, just following behind Greg Spencer, and they're actually 4 wide. So I'm not sure if they didn't know they were 4 wide. But yeah, definitely 4 wide late on and just running out of room, and drivers trying to occupy the same bit of road.
It almost looked as though Rick Vincent was trying to put a bit of space between himself and Gary Wellman side by side, and managed to move up and involve Greg Spencer in that. So that's unfortunate for Greg, doing a good job out there, and unfortunately more collateral damage from somebody who really no fault of their own, and that's I don't know how much damage Greg's got on the car. It doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, it looked like the car kind of just rotated a little bit around his nose, so he might have just got away with that. But the person that was really hoping to see that, Tristan Koch, 1 lap down, he's received the lucky dog pass as well, so he'll be back on the lead lap, I believe, which would make 11 cars fighting out for this one. And
Nankervis on the outside there. Tony Roffey has really recovered from that little journey across the grass. We got Craig Roffey, Jamie Nankervis, Tony Roffey, and Wade Sheedy. And Tony Roffey's really put himself right back in contention here. He's sitting in the top 3.
Yeah, he definitely recovered well, and what an incredible save, and then just to drive up through the field, as we see Tristan Koch just getting his lap back there. But yeah, Tony Roffey in the 3rd position, starting right behind Craig Roffey as well on the inside. So we'll see if they count each other down and can get a decent jump and work together to hopefully get a 1-2 finish here tonight.
Yeah, the road boys will be hoping for that. Nankervis will be wanting to spoil the party, and Wade Sheedy wants a slice of the pie. So it's going to be interesting these last couple of laps. We go green. We're probably going to have, about 2 laps under green, I think. Actually, we're still going another one around, so it may even actually have 1 lap dash under green. We have 1 green-white checker if we need it. The lights are still on the pace truck, so they're going at least another lap round, and may even go green-white checker by the time they come around and the lights go off on the pace truck. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, with the quick little calculator smoking away, I do believe it's going to use the 1 green and white checker we have available here tonight as well. So it will be a race to the next flag. If a yellow comes out, that will be it. If they race around to the white, even if an incident does happen, they get to race back around to the checkered flag and fight it out for the win.
Yep, well explained. Once it goes white, it doesn't matter what happens. It's race on until we get to the next time around. So it doesn't matter if most of the field's taken out in an incident. Whoever's still running is in contention because there are no cautions once it goes white flag. So we'll see how we go.
As they start lining up 2 by 2, I've just got a clarification that it has used the 1 green-white checker as well. So it'll be a race to the next flag, doesn't matter what the colour is.
Yep. And the boys need to move up on that pace car a little bit.
So we're looking at the back of Craig Roffey's car, all the rubber marks on the front of Tony Roffey's car. as they're quite linked up already as well. So just looking out the back of the pace car now, Lankovus on the outside, Craig Roffey on the inside. We've got Adam Malone weaving, he's keeping the tyres and getting a bit of heat into his wheels as well. And a couple of teammates, we've got a couple of sim boys on the outside as well. So yeah, anything can happen. Anyone's in for a win. And yeah, pretty much get ready for the fireworks, I reckon, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Definitely 100%. Once they get to that white flag, it's basically on for young and old, because whoever's still running is in with a shot. Tony Roffey sitting there behind Craig Roffey, and just incredible the way he's come back from that infield excursion. Peter Matson sitting in behind him, who actually was it that caused the off-field, the infield excursion for Tony Roffey, as we're under green, and then Curvis gets his nose in front on the outside. Got a good start. Craig Roffey didn't get that greater start, but now he's got the advantage of being on the inside line, and he gets himself in front, and he's going to try and take Tony Roffey with him.
Yeah, it's definitely a good jump by Lankovus, as he's got Wade Sheedy right on his rear bumper, pushing him along, as we've got Matson and Wellman on the outside. Wade just getting a bit loose, keeps it out of the wall though, as we are 3-1.
Great save.
As we got Craig Roffey, Lankovus fighting for the lead once again, as they're just starting to block down as we come and get the white flag, so the race will be official.
So we've got 3 wide at the front. We've got Sim Boys, everything simulated, and Rogue. As Nankervis swaps a little bit of paint with Craig Roffey, but there's no cautions from this point on. It's whoever gets across the line first. And Gary Wellman is absolutely flogging it down the outside there. He gets past Nankervis, past Roffey. He's got his nose in front. Roffey's going to try and pull back up alongside of him. As they actually touched. They touched, and Wellman's bounced it off the outside wall, and he's missed out. Craig Roffey and Nankervis, they've come together. And I think that's actually Troy Davidson's managed to get the win.
Yeah, just crossed the line, just first with Adam Malone and Peter Matson rounding out your podium. But yeah, Troy Davidson came from nowhere, but everything was happening out of turn 4.
Oh, there was the leaders hitting each other, bouncing each other off the wall. And Troy Davidson, ice cold blood in his veins, and he's just simply said, "Thank you very much, and I'll take the win." Adam Malone followed him across the line. Oh, they were side by side, but Adam Malone in second did a great job tonight, and great to see him have such a nice run. A little bit of a rough run in the 2 recruitment races for Adam, but he's had a good finish here tonight, a nice clean run, and his strategy's obviously paid off. And Troy Davidson in the number 23 Sim Boys car, and he's going to burn those bags. Yeah,
definitely goes to show, like, pretty much anything can happen right at the end of the races. I do believe both Troy Davidson and Adam Malone were right down the bottom of the top 10 on that final restart, and they've come across line 1-2. So definitely anything can happen, as we see Troy still having a bit of fun and putting his mark down on Michigan.
Yeah, and we'll go to the final standings for this one. And these are... Yep, there we go. Okay, so first across the line tonight, Troy Davidson in the number 23, Adam Malone second, and Peter Matson's managed third place in the 173 GSRC car. Kate Donnelly in fourth, Tony Roffey fifth, Wade Sheedy sixth, Tristan Koch, after all that getting the lap back, has managed to bring it home seventh. Well done to Tristo, fantastic drive. Jamie Nankervis has finished 8th out of all that with the contact at the end. Gary Wellman, after bouncing it off, being pushed across and bouncing it off the wall, 9th. And Craig Roffey, who I think pushed him there, has finished 10th.
In 11th, we got Greg Spencer, and 12th was Rick Vincent, Andrew Hoffman, Andy Barber, Jared Williams, Paul Jackson, Greg Sholton, Troy Mortensen, Todd Maxfield, and James Oliver was in your 20th position.
21st, Robert Denton in the 73 car. 22nd, Matthew Beale. 23rd, Christopher Hoffman. 24th, Richard Sanchez. And 25th, didn't happen. I finished 102 laps down. There you go.
But just that little graphic that was on the top of those standings, 43 lead changes tonight. So that was quite a lot of 2 and 3 ride racing, and definitely a big battle over the entire 100 laps for that win.
Yeah, no, look, fantastic stuff at the end there. It really did come down to being anybody's race, didn't it, Jai?
Yeah, it was definitely right, and yeah, didn't know until the end. Obviously, people come from the back and a few bumps and a few trading paints, but that's what oval racing's all about, and it was a good race to watch and call. And congratulations to Troy again once more for taking out round 1.
Yeah, no, fantastic stuff. He started on the front row and he finished on the front row. So that wraps up a pretty good night for Troy Davidson, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely right. It doesn't matter what happened in between. Started first, finished first. So pretty much on paper, pretty perfect night. But we'll chuck to our final ad break and then we'll get some driver interviews happening.
If you love the thrill of racing but hate the risks, then buckle up. Everything Simulated is here to merge adrenaline with absolute safety. In a world where technology meets adrenaline, Everything Simulated is revolutionizing driver training with state-of-the-art simulators. From truck training to the thrill of motorsports, our simulators offer the most realistic experiences across all automotive applications. Gone are the days of endless bookwork and basic drills. Now it's all about hands-on, pulse-pounding action that prepares you for the real deal. Whether you're maneuvering a heavy mining vehicle or racing a high-speed car, our simulators, equipped with cutting-edge technology from leaders like Simrigs and Track Racer, bring every nuance of the drive to life. And talk about making a mark. We're not just building simulators, we're fostering talent. From grassroots motorsports to professional series like the Aussie Outlaw GT3, sponsored by us, Everything Simulated is fueling dreams and careers. Ready to feel the excitement of the racetrack under your fingertips? Connect with us, and let's build your next simulator adventure together. Remember, we support those who support us. Join the Everything Simulated family, and let's race towards the future.
And we are back. Welcome back to round one, series one of the OzOval V8 Supercars Racing. And we are live from Michigan in our first round. Fantastic night's racing. What a finish on that one. And we've got third place Peter Matson from the 173 GSRC Commodore. G'day, Peter. How you going?
Yeah, really well, Steve.
Mate, what a finish. With about a lap to go, did you think that you had a hope?
No, mate, I was stuck on the inside. I needed to get out. So I managed to push my way out. And then, it was carnage, obviously, all around me, in front of me. So I was lucky enough to get over the line for third.
Yeah, there's a couple of the guys came together. Gary Wellman and Craig Roffey were side by side at the front, and they came together. And Gary ended up bouncing it off the wall, and Craig Roffey followed suit, I think, just after that. And then just before the line, we had Jamie and I think Tony Roffey actually finished up in the wall. So, but yeah, look, you've led 19 laps tonight. There was a fair distance there that I remember you doing it. Let's see, you started in sixth, so you weren't too far back, and you've managed to finish in third after leading 19 laps. So that it's a great run. Your impressions of the car and everything, was there anything particular you had to keep in mind tonight?
Yeah, no, look, I think the boys let me suck up all my fuel up the front. But anyway, I mean, not having spent a lot of time in the front, I'm all for it. So bring it on. I probably pitted a lap too early. So the second round was fuel conserve, sitting behind people. But no, the car was great.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk and some testing by a couple of the guys beforehand about how the setup was going to go, and as the fuel load dropped and stuff like that. It doesn't, with the exception of Adam Malone, it doesn't appear that anybody was particularly attached to that outside line. You seem to change as the race went on. You inside line, middle line. You spent a lot of time on that mid-track centre line sort of an area there, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And the top line was actually really good. You got a really good run off the top line, and yeah, the car held. The tyres were good, so the car held the track. So tyre wear was pretty minimal.
I was going to ask you about that actually. With the starter set and two tyre changes, did it come down to using the last set earlier than you wanted, later than you wanted, or just because it was there?
Oh, I only changed one set of tyres, so I think the first set I ended up changing were at roughly about half of their life, and then I chucked the new set on and ran with the new set till the end. So I still had one over the wall, and that budget will go into the team for the next event.
Yeah, that would be nice if it worked that way, wouldn't it? Yeah. Look, it was a great drive, and obviously you made your mark on this one, leading 19 laps. A great battle for a long time between you and Jamie Nankervis, side by side there, and depending on what part of the track you're in, you were in front or he was in front, just getting your nose in there a couple of times, and then he'd pull the same being on your inside. So obviously that was pretty exciting racing, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, absolutely. But a lot of the guys here, you know who you can race clean with, and I mean, I think it shows probably the top 10 in there are well matured drivers that do a good job. So yeah, and it's a bit sad for the guys that did the 100 laps and into the wall for the last lap. So, but overall, yeah, mate, great event, and looking forward to being here next week.
Yeah, that second half of the race was everything seemed to calm down a little bit. Everything stabilised a bit. But towards the end, it came back to some three-wide racing, and at some point, there was some four-wide racing. So, yeah, look, fantastic stuff to watch. It really was. So, anybody you want to give a shout-out to?
No, not tonight. I'm all on my own, and really happy to to have finished where I finished. So just obviously the other boys, thanks for the good clean racing, and look forward to next week.
No worries. All right. Thanks very much. Peter Matson started 6th, finished 3rd on the podium, and led a big fistful of laps, about 19 laps, around about a fifth of the race actually led in that GSRC green and orange Holden Commodore. So we go to, and I'm trying to remember actually, would you believe I've just gone completely blank on it? I'm having a seniors moment. We're off to Pocono next week. And what's your impressions of that one?
Yeah, that'll be a different race. I think we'll run through some tyres on that one. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it'll be good.
It's a little bit flatter. So yeah, I imagine the tyre wear will be a bit higher.
Yeah,
But anyway,
looking forward to it.
Yep. Anyway, look, thanks, Peter. Great run tonight. Good driving and a good finish. Congratulations on 3rd, and we'll catch up with you next week at Pocono.
Thanks, Steve.
And 2nd place, Adam Malone, the outside man tonight. How are you?
Yeah, good, Steve. How are you, mate?
Not bad, mate. You were enjoying that outside line, weren't you?
Yeah, she usually runs pretty good, but tonight it was wasn't sticking as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, you had a fair bit of help there. Andy tried to help you a couple of times, and you were having a good one with Greg Spencer there for a while as well.
Yeah, Andy, Greg. I'm pretty sure Rick there was behind me trying to push me along, but it just wouldn't work for me tonight. But
yeah, Rick Vincent was behind you quite a bit, trying to push you around that outside.
Yeah, he was.
How'd you find the car, the setup, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, the car was pretty good actually. The setup was nice. Tyre wear was great on it. At some stage, I knew I had to save a bit of fuel on that last run, but other than that, she was really good.
Yeah, good stuff. And you had some fairly interesting battles. You started 4th, finished 2nd. You actually led 5 laps. But I know that you were actually sitting at the front for a lot longer than that, and just moving back and forth. There's a lot of positional changes tonight, which is back and forward depending on who was on the inside and the outside. You seemed to give a lot of racing room tonight, whereas some of the other guys were happy to run fairly close to one another, which I think has probably done you a big favour in the way that your races ended up.
Yeah, I didn't want to get tangled up with too early in the race, so I knew you just have to give a bit of room to these drivers.
Well, you had a couple of rough runs in the recruitment races, and I don't think you actually finished the second one at Old Atlanta, so it was good to see you get a nice clean run tonight and a good finish at the pointy end of the field too. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, mate, I'll give a good shout out to RBI Trading Cards, Mishi XL Garage, Tiona Holiday Park, and the Southern Stars esports team.
Yeah, great stuff. And it was good to see you boys in here tonight mixing it up. It was just a bit of a shame Andy got caught up in a couple of little things along the way, and it sort of pushed him back down through the field, and I think he ended up losing a couple of laps. But
yeah.
Great to see you out there mixing it up, and I think it's going to be a pretty good series.
Yeah, cheers, Steve.
No worries. Thanks very much. 2nd place. Congratulations, Adam Malone. As we move across to the dark horse himself, how are you, Mr. Troy Davison?
Hey, Steve. Yeah, pretty happy to take that one away. It's halfway through the race. I got some damage earlier. Sort of had to keep on going back to the pits and getting a bit of repairs done. But, I wasn't sure how it was all going to unfold towards the end there. I wasn't in the best position. And I just know in these series, these V8 supercars ovals, you just got to be patient, and just bought me time, and everything finally came my way at the end there, and ran across the line with the number 1, so it's pretty stoked there.
Well, you started first and you finished first. It was just that big bit in the middle there where it was a bit of a struggle, and waiting to see what if other people were going to do around you, and as you said, you copped a little bit of damage, but you got the job done in the end and put it back in the. But like, what went through your mind when everybody in front of you just sort of ran into one another and hit the wall?
Yeah, well, in the last ASE series, done a lot of these races, and I just know patience pays off, and it's so hard to restrain yourself sometimes. You just, 20, 15, 10 laps out, and even tonight it was 5 laps out and I wasn't in the best position. I was down low and talking to the boys, the top wasn't working that well, and I knew there'd be another wreck. Like I just knew that would happen towards the end there, and sort of just thought, well, I'm in a pretty good spot down here if that happens, and yeah, that's how it all played out in the end.
Did a bit of a Stephen Bradbury on him, mate.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've, like I said, done a fair few of these races, these supercar ovals, and there's always a wreck at the end there, and I don't know, sometimes you just got to put yourself in the right place at the right time, and hope she all comes to you.
It was fairly unusual. We actually commented at one point that we weren't seeing what we usually expect to see in a lot of these races. The Sim Boys cars usually running, 2, 3, 4 nose to tail. It certainly wasn't the case tonight. Everybody had to really sort of work hard for what they were getting.
Yeah, it was pretty erratic there at the start there. First race of the season, I suppose. Everyone's sort of in a few new drivers as well, getting used to it, finding their feet, I suppose. But so we're sort of patient around that. And then, yeah, when the green pit stop happened, I don't know, all of us, we overfilled our car. I don't know really what went on there. Like we had another 10 laps or something up our sleeves. So I don't know really what happened there, but that cost us time and we just about lost that lead pack. So we sort of panicking a bit there and finally got back onto it. And then it was, pretty hectic towards the end there. And it was hard to know where to be because, middle or top, it wasn't really, neither was really working, but bottom wasn't either because you're just getting boxed in. So it was just, like I say, trying to read what was going on and put yourself in a good position and hope for a bit of luck, really.
Well, it seemed to change as the race went on with the low line, the mid line, the outside. As the fuel loads went up and down, the different lines seemed. There was one point there where the middle line had more pace than anywhere else on the track, and then all of a sudden the low lines got it again. So it was quite a strange race with that. Normally you see, well, the low line's quick tonight and the outside line comes and goes, but it was really, there wasn't a line that really was dominant tonight. It was just all over the place as far as speed coming and going, and I think a lot of it to do was a lot of fuel setup, fuel load up and down, stuff like that. So, and as the track rubbers up and that sort of thing. So, very interesting race. And obviously it's fallen in your lap tonight. As I said, started first, finished first. So a good haul of points tonight from pole position. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, cheers, Steve. Yeah, Sim Boys as always was sort of, I think it was 4 of us on track tonight. We're a little bit down. We're trying to raise the boys up and get some more here. But hot toddy heating stalls, United Electrical, and just probably most importantly you, Steve, for getting this series up and running. So far, it looks awesome the way you've set it up and starting to get people keen. And it's just great being back in these supercar ovals. I reckon it's some of the best racing you can do on iRacing. And just also inside lane production, sponsor and broadcast. Stoked to be a part of it again.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic to have it all back up and running. And I made the comment earlier on that you guys have had 6 to 8 months away from this, so you're all pretty much chomping at the bit to get out there and make it happen. So. As the league admin, I'm really pleased that we got a decent turnout tonight. We've actually got 47 guys registered for the league, and we had 25 or something tonight for the first round. So I'm pretty happy. We're off to a banger of a start, and we'll see how it goes next week at Pocono. What's your thoughts on that track?
Yeah, I quite like Pocono. It's a different track to some of these traditional ovals, but with these supercars, I've always sort of quite liked it there. It's sort of, I don't know, it might be a little bit different now. We've got the 3 sets of tyres compared to the ASC used to only have 1, but it is something you've got to be mindful there. But with the 3 sets, you probably can sprint race it a bit harder. But it'll be interesting how it sorts everyone out.
Yeah, pretty sure it's actually 80 laps next week because it's a 2.5 miler. But obviously the tricky triangle, anything can happen there, and there's a couple of those turns that can catch you out if you're not on the ball. So it'll be great to see you there next week. Congratulations, our race winner for round 1, series 1 of the OzOval V8 Supercar Racing Series, Troy Davison in the number 23 Sim Boys car, from first to first. and a bit of a mix-up in the middle. But great to see him finish that one off the way he started, and we'll see you next week at Pocono. Thanks very much, and special thanks, well, to me, I suppose, but there's a lot of Steves written up there, and especially Kobe Jordan, the producer from Inside Lane Productions. I'll get it right in a minute. And if you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the series, you can contact us at quasiesports@gmail.com, and we can discuss a sponsorship package of either a race or a series or a couple of races, whatever. If you're interested, let me know. And if you want to be a driver, you can find us in, that's not correct, but we'll get that sorted out. It's actually League 10491, 10491. Is what you search for in iRacing, and you can actually request to be part of the league. And if you find OzOval V8SC Racing on Facebook, you'll get a link to our Discord in there. Our next race from Pocono, the Tricky Triangle, will be in a week's time, and we'll do it all again. On behalf of myself, Jai Schultz, who was in the box with me tonight, and Kobe Jordan pushing the buttons, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for being in the socials, and we'll catch you next week.